Good evening and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It is Monday evening and we are back to playing the Masks of Nyarlathotep. It has been some weeks, up to and including 6. So we're all excited to dive back in. But first, some promo. So other things that we do on the channel, Wednesday nights we have Simba Room, and some Thursdays we have the Yellow King. So that is going to be back on the 1st of May. There are also one-shots that we do occasionally on weekend days, and links to things are below the stream. So links to our YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, or Twitch if you're watching on YouTube. Links to our social media pages, our Discord, where you can join and come and chat with us, and also get up-to-date info on what is on when. We have a handy little events tab, and also our Patreon. So if you enjoy what we do, you can support us through there. I think that is everything by way of that. I'll do a very quick recap of everything overall. So the group have been to Peru and met Jackson Elias. This is a sort of prologue, which was not in the original version of the game and is new to this, which we discussed in our sort of ad hoc stream last week, which is on our YouTube if you want to catch up and look at that. And are now in New York, and spoiler alert, Jackson Elias has now been brutally killed, and the group are kind of investigating that and the circumstances surrounding it. So let's bring people on to discuss what they are thinking at the moment. Let's go with Sam first, who plays Mrs. Winifred Farwell. Hey, Sam.
Hello.
How's Mrs. Farwell doing? Can you remember?
I think, yeah. It was just moments ago, right? Yeah, I think Mrs. Farwell is very happy that we decided to open up and talk to this journalist at this funeral, because she's turned out to be a very helpful lady who, prior to this kind of connection, I think we were all getting a bit stumped as to how we were going to try and investigate the sad death of Jackson Elias, who, I mean, I think it's all safe to say we all think we need to do something about his death, because we don't really trust the authorities to do anything about it, given what we've heard. But we were sort of hitting a brick wall, so it's a big relief to have someone on our side who seems to be able to, connect us up to the right people and get us in the right places to investigate, which is exactly what's happening now. So excited for the rest of the session.
Cool, thank you. Let's bring on Justin, who is playing Mr. Farwell. Hey, Justin.
Hello.
How's Mr. Farwell?
Yeah, I think good. I mean, all things considered, it's been a horrific few days.
Yes. Thank you.
What can I say?
That's it. Yeah.
The mate got murdered. It's not great.
But at least there are speakeasies, I suppose.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's bring on Steve, who plays Edwin Price. Hey, Steve.
Hello.
How's Edwin doing?
That's a great question, given it was, again, like February, since we played last. Edwin is okay. Obviously somewhat distressed by the murder of a colleague. But then he's not been mind controlled recently, and he's not been crawling through pits of decaying bodies. So that's New York has something going for it, at least.
So you win some, you lose some, is what you guess. Yeah. Cool, thank you. Always seeing the positive side is Edwin. No pits of decaying bodies yet. Let's bring on John, who plays Merritt Barton. Hey, John. How is Merritt doing?
Merritt is... I don't think he really knows himself I think investigating your friend's murder is so outside of the scope of expected human experiences that he probably isn't really thinking too hard about how he feels, which might not be a good thing. He's mostly just confused at the moment and frustrated and obviously sad, but we persevere, we move forward, we keep asking questions until we run out of them. That's his rough thinking, I think.
Cool, thank you. Jack will hopefully be joining us to play Ted Hobbs at some point this evening, but is mildly waylaid. So we will crack on. So it is now the morning of Sunday, the 18th of June. So the group, thanks to
January, surely.
January, yes.
Yeah, I remember being
I said the wrong J something N.
It's a strange time of year for the snow we were having just the other day.
January. Good start. And thanks to the journalist Rebecca Schosenberg. Today you are going to visit both Mr. and Mrs. Adams at separate times, one in prison and one not. So you have at 10 a.m. Roughly a meeting with Millie Adams. And that is in Harlem. I think you've been given the address last time, haven't you?
I think so. I do recall. Oh, Lafayette Theatre. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And then 3 p.m. for Mr. Adams, Hilton Adams. Is there anything that you want to do before you head to Harlem to meet Millie Adams? So just as a reminder for everyone, Hilton Adams is somebody who has been arrested and charged and is basically on death row for the other ritual murders that had happened in New York. Obviously, it seems potentially suspicious that he is in prison, presumably, as far as you know. And another murder of that exact same type seems to have happened. And you have had discussions that imply that perhaps the police haven't acted entirely, well, you know, how they should have done, and perhaps not being quite as thorough in checking
And this
the situation
happened
surrounding this.
shortly after Captain Robson took over the investigation.
Yes, that's correct.
So yeah, we have suspicions.
So yes, you have a meeting with him this afternoon, which Mr. Farwell had very cleverly gone to try and organise previously and kind of been turned away at the gate by a
Very
guard.
cleverly.
That's a kind way of putting it.
Mr. Adams.
No, it was a good lead to follow, but so
Hit an
yes.
invisible wall is what I'm hearing here. I hadn't unlocked that area yet.
So yeah, is there anything that you would like to do before you go to meet Mrs. Adams?
I can't think of anything.
Nothing specific, just general morning things, getting ready and such.
Yeah, we have a look in the papers, see if there's anything that stands out,
Such as her obituary or something like that. Be good to know.
We did have a note to look in the papers for something, didn't we? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Or
I forget what that
sightings
was.
like doings of Erica Carlisle.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. So looking for her
I do
name.
remember.
Either her name or just looking at the sort of event that she might attend as a
Yeah,
wealthy socialite.
There's like the society. Is it Carlisle? Or is it something else, the kind of group they're part of as well? Looking for that name.
Yeah, she's a Carlisle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to make sort of library use rolls for reading the papers?
Sure. I'll have a go at that since I said
Why not?
that's the question. Dice are never prepared beforehand. Anything
No, that's a fail.
That is a hard success.
I haven't got used to the American style of paper, clearly. Reading it backwards or something.
Yeah, the front page stuff's all on the back. That's the. Okay, so Mrs. Farrell got a hard success. Yeah, so you managed to find a benefit for needy children. Literally uses those words that she is due to attend this evening in the city.
Okay. What sort of event is it? Is it like you need to be the rich and wealthy or an invite only sort of thing, or is it the sort of thing you could see more ordinary people showing up at as well?
I was going to ask you to make another roll, but you got a hard success, so I'm happy that transfers over. So you think that if you, because Mrs. Farwell's got a little bit of cash, right? So you've probably been to some reasonably swanky things.
Similar sort of things,
You think that if you dressed up nicely, it's not necessarily a named guest list thing. Yeah. You reckon that if you looked the part, there is a chance that if they thought that you would give some money, there's a chance that you would be sort of granted entry.
The British accent might help a bit, sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So
that starts at 7 p.m. and you've got the address of the place and stuff.
We'll see how the day goes. I'll show it to the whole group, but I'll specifically kind of show it to Mr. Farwell and go, fancy getting scrubbed up for this evening, husband?
The chances they'll let me in. Maybe.
You must have brought a suit.
I have I don't even know if I bought. I can't even remember if I bought a suit for the funeral.
You did. Mrs. Farwell insisted.
There we go. Then I guess now. Sure.
And you'll be welcome to join as well. I gesture to the rest of the group, but if you feel like you'd like to come, if we have the chance.
Eldritch buzzing. It's eldritch buzzing from someone.
I think that's Jonny.
That's Jonny.
Jonny.
That is expected. He does do that sometimes.
It wasn't as bad as it was last week.
Yeah, if he gets excited.
That was just Johnny's intense buzzing at our slightly awkward interaction.
Yeah, I'm.
It's a new feature. You can tell how stressed the GM is by the
Indeed
level of buzzing that they give off.
So, do any of you express an interest in attending this charity event?
They said it was for needy children, right?
Is that not a good enough cause for Merit Barton?
No, it is a good enough cause. That's one of the few children.
Do they need do they need this money?
Don't those children have enough? No.
They always get the money.
Where's the benefits for linguists who are down on their luck?
No, that is definitely a cause that Merit would support. Yes, I will try and get in if they let me.
I mean, I would enjoy pretending to be the help as much as I would trying to be one of the rich people who might find out more information this way. I don't know.
You tried to tell me I'm going with Mr. Barton here as my husband instead.
You're very welcome to.
Well, you never attend this sort of event with me.
We promised we wouldn't do this.
Look, last time, I just wanted to have a nice night.
Hopefully the eldritch buzzing has ceased.
Yes.
We are buzz free at present.
Okay. Cool. So, are you heading to Harlem, to the theatre?
Yes.
So,
Okay. So, are you getting a cab? I assume, Mrs. Farwell. I mean, maybe rude of me to assume, but maybe
what's the weather like? And how far
Yeah.
is it?
We're not made
there
of
is
money.
still slush everywhere.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm getting a cab.
Fine.
Okay, so as you pull up to the front of the theatre, it's a beautiful building, and you can see Rebecca Schosenberg and another woman standing beneath the marquee at the front of the theatre. And as you depart the cab, Rebecca kind of waves a hand to you. They don't come outside. It's begun snowing again by this point, and again, the street here is, like it on the path. It's not so bad, but there are other things going past and kind of flinging slush and stuff. So they stay back a little. But as you approach, assuming you're not having any sort of hushed words as you arrive, she says, "Good morning, everybody. This is Millie Adams." And she says, "Good morning. Let's head inside." So you head into the very smart-looking lobby, and sort of she's not really saying anything as she's leading you on, and you pass the ticket booths and the cloakrooms, and
Can I just say while we're walking, this is an interesting place to meet. Do you work here or?
she says, "Let's head inside first." And you pass sort of cleaners and other members of staff, and they all sort of, doff a cap to Millie, or give some form of deference as she passes. Some of them seem to know Rebecca as well, and kind of give a nod towards her as she passes. They don't ignore you, but you can tell that they're familiar with those two compared to you. So you head into the main auditorium. The house lights are up in here, and she basically takes a seat.
I'll take a seat as well, I suppose. I mean, it's just the normal rows of seats, right?
Yeah.
I'll sit next to her. I don't want to sit in front of her, and I don't want to sit behind. I'll sit next to her and say, "Mrs. Adams, thank you for agreeing to meet with us."
No problem. Ms. Chosenberg here requested that I speak with you. I'm obviously slightly apprehensive, as I'm sure you can understand. And sorry, Sam, was it you that asked about why we were there? Yeah. I'm sorry. kind of waiting for him.
Mrs. Farwell.
Mrs. Farwell, you asked why we are meeting here. I have worked here as a musician and singer. And with all due respect, I do not know any of you people and did not particularly wish to invite you to my home.
Sensible choice.
Perfectly understandable.
So, if this may seem strange to you, but would you tell me a little about yourselves and how you have come here before I decide whether to share what information I have?
We're English.
Yes, I had
We
figured that at least those of you who had spoken were.
I will do a quick introduction of everyone's names then, and then we travelled to New York to meet Mr. Jackson Elias. You probably, well, yes, of course, you know his name given all the circumstances. He was a close friend of ours, and we travelled in South America with him some time ago. He'd asked us here to to help him with his investigations and such. He seemed very distressed. Well, we didn't even have a chance to meet him, actually. He seemed very distressed when we called him. And
I'm sorry about what has happened to your friend.
thank you. And for what it's worth, I don't think we believe your husband did it or was involved in it at this point.
Sam, could you make me a charm roll, please?
Of course. How good is my charm? Not good. Could I persuade you for a persuade?
No, we'll go with charm. I think if that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an easy roll, so double.
You never know. Oh, I do it on an easy. Yes.
Okay.
Do I get a tip
yeah.
for an easy roll that I succeed at?
I'm going to be mean and say no.
It's only 15 on a
Maybe
charm. That's
half a
unlikely to ever
tick.
get tipped. Yeah, I'm gonna get half.
Two easy rolls and you can get it. Yeah.
I remember that. Okay, cool. I passed.
Yeah. Carry on. Sorry.
Continue. And then I'll go. Well, unfortunately, the first time we saw him was when we were the ones to discover his body immediately after the attack in that hotel. Since we've spoken with the police and the cops, you call them here, I think, and we've been trying to, and the good Miss Rosenberg here, and we've been trying to piece together what's going on, really. And I suppose that has led us to you, given I think our belief that the official investigation may not uncover the whole truth has been shaken somewhat. We're keen to find out what really happened, and you are the next step in that process.
You can see that she's kind of like mostly at Mrs. Farwell because she's done most of the talking, but then kind of looking around the rest of the group and trying to sort of get a bit of a read on everybody. I'd like to offer you a bit of a deal.
Just gone muted, Johnny, for some reason. No sound.
The Eldritch Forces.
Gremlins are absolutely.
That was really weird.
I thought that was my headphones breaking.
I was wondering whether it was my audio then.
Yeah, because he didn't go on mute. That was weird.
Yeah.
Back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
I'd like to make you a little bit of a deal. I may seem biased because I'm married to the man, but I genuinely do not believe that my husband did the things of which he is accused. And as sorry as I am about what has happened to your friend, it has certainly served as some kind of validation for me that what I believe to be the case is almost certainly the case, that it was not him. So if you would agree as part of your investigation into what happened to your friend to attempt to see if any of that also leads to exonerating my husband, then I will happily share with you what information I have.
Well, I feel like I could safely speak for all my compatriots here that none of us would like to see an innocent man die for a crime he didn't commit. And we had already come to the conclusion that at the very least, more consideration was needed about his guilt or not. So, yes, I think it's safe to say we fully agree with you about this and will help in any way we can to prevent him being blamed for a crime he didn't commit, if that is so.
Edwin would be nodding along in agreement.
As will Merit.
Okay. Thank you all. So my husband Hilton actually, when some of the locals of Harlem started to disappear a few years ago now, as those number of disappearances started to increase, he and a group of friends, they'd meet up at Teddy's. They started patrolling to try and make sure that members of the community were safe, and also trying to find out who might be responsible, because 14th Precinct did not seem to take the matter very seriously, and they weren't happy about it. Even, when the first groups weren't even necessarily anybody that any of them knew. It was the community. So then the bodies started appearing a couple of years back. Police still didn't do anything. Said it was probably gang violence and robberies gone bad, what have you. Even though there was somebody proclaiming, I suppose Robson had called it, that there was some kind of death cult here, which I don't know very much about death cults, although I understand your friend may have, from what I've read in the papers.
We know who Robson is, Jonny.
That's the
captain.
captain, the police captain.
Ah, thank you. Got it. Okay.
Who may or may not be dodgy. So Hilton and his friends, they spent a little time in the library, which, believe me, is not like my Hilton, but grabbing hold of something and running with it Sure was. So they they found something about well, it was supposed to be this cult that was long dead from East Africa. He never told me much more about it, name or nothing like that. And the police, they took his journal when everything happened.
You mean Justin?
Was it the bloody tongue cult that we've been hearing about? Was something like that?
That was what you'd seen, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And she then says, I don't know if it had any relevance, but he was using a strip of red cloth as a bookmark. It seemed strange because he has bookmarks, but that was in the journal anyway. So the police did not take well to Hilton and his friends, looking around things that they were supposed to be looking around, I suppose, even though they were refusing to do so. A couple of Hilton's friends' employers were putting a little bit of pressure on them to leave things be. Worried that, I don't know, news of what they were doing would put Harlem into disrepute and they'd lose business. I'm not sure. And I think some of them thought that the discussion of cults, maybe they were worried that that it would, I suppose, make the rich white people think bad things of Harlem, and well, I don't know. Anyway, he didn't want to tell me a lot about what was going on, but he did tell me that he thought there was a cult here in Harlem and that they were probably paying the police to turn a blind eye. Just like any other gang. Miss Schosenberg, you may recall, do you know Needham Johnson? She says, yeah, I've worked with him on a story or two. And she says, yeah, he's a reporter at the New York Age. Hilton's friends with him. And I overheard him mention a place called Juju House. I'm not sure if it's relevant. And that pretty much leads us up to his arrest in September. Apparently found him standing over the body of a man in an alleyway not far from the Harlem branch of the New York Library. The police say they heard screams, ran down there, saw Hilton throw away a bloody knife. And it was Hilton's army-issue bolo knife. They recovered it from the scene. And that was most of the prosecution's case against him. But the weird thing, he he didn't ever take the knife out with him on his patrols.
Have you been able to speak with him since he was arrested?
Yeah, I've been to visit, but there's not much to say.
How would you describe his mental state at the moment?
He's reasonably resigned to his fate, I would say. As I've had to become. The neighborhood and some of the guys down at Teddy's raised some money to pay for his defense. His case was judged not worthy to qualify for a legal aid attorney. So we had money to pay for a trial and an appeal, and now that's gone.
So short of the discovery of new evidence, nothing will change now.
It's only a matter of time, I'm afraid. She takes a cloth from her pocket, and people who aren't sat really close wouldn't see a tear, but I think Merritt sat directly next to, so you would see, she sort of dabs away at the corner of her eye.
I'm assuming, I feel like I'm probably sat quite close if that's possible. I'll probably just put my hand upon hers comfortingly.
We intend to do everything we can to locate the people who murdered our friend. And I do not think that is a large jump to also find the truth behind your husband. We will do everything we can, Mrs. Adams.
Tears start to go now, she says, "Thank you. And thank you, Mrs. Farwell," and she kind of lifts her hand.
We are hoping to be speaking with your husband this afternoon. I imagine in his state in his cell, he probably won't be feeling particularly open or talkative or hopeful, but do you have any advice for how we might approach him and help him to help us?
I would say to just, I suppose, try and get as much information out of him as you can. There must be something that can point in a direction that isn't him. But he will be probably very similar to me today. Not instantly trusting you, but perhaps you could tell him that you've spoken to me today and recount to him some things I've said to you, so he knows that we have discussed, and perhaps that will help him trust you faster.
You said your husband was doing research? He had a bookmark. Did he leave any books at home? Are there any of the books that he was using back at the house?
I think everything that may be relevant in any way was taken by Robson's team. You see, she kind of looks, she kind of moves her mouth in a funny way as she says Robson's team, and you get the impression that she's also not keen.
Yeah. Do you remember any of the titles or topics?
I'm afraid not many of them, as I've said, were library books.
Library books.
Did they
I don't know whether
take his library card?
I'm pretty sure, but I was going to say perhaps a visit to the library, they may be able to get that information.
I'm sure you can tell us which library it was that he would frequent.
Yeah, it was the New York library, and she also mentioned that there's a Harlem branch, so it's likely that he went there.
What about his behavior? This whole thing must have taken quite a strain on him, doing all these patrols, doing all these research. What was he like?
You have to understand that I believe my husband is a good man, and he felt this was his societal duty, I suppose. Yes, he was tired because he worked and then did this, but I think it brought him joy is not the correct term, but I think that he would have been less happy had he not done it.
I can understand that.
Yeah. Did any members of his group ever come back to the house, the apartment, and visit you?
Yes. Yes. So the group who would hang out at Teddy's, it's a bar. So Needham Johnson, as I said, Douglas, Art, Jackie. So yeah, Teddy's is probably still the best place to find them.
And did they all seem just normal folks like your husband?
Yes. Yes.
It's funny looking around at the rest of my, compatriots. It's just normal folk that get into this sometimes.
Have you... Since your husband was arrested, would you say you've received any attention from the police? And if so, any officers in particular?
No, I've been keeping my head down, so I imagine if I hadn't, then perhaps I may have found myself standing over a body in an alleyway.
Yes.
Have the need for patrols changed since Hilton's arrest? Are there still disappearances and...
Nothing for a little while before your friend, I don't think.
It
Hmm.
would seem from our perspective that Jackson Elias's death was a little different to what we know of the others anyway. They seemed to be somewhat random victims, opportunistic, whereas our friend Mr. Elias was more interested in the occult. And of course, it was a different location. Perhaps if we're working on the theory, which I'm assuming this is your theory, Mrs. Adams, that your husband was effectively framed for these murders. If it was an organized and planned affair, they deliberately stopped doing it once he went to prison to make him look more guilty.
I can certainly understand them, yes. Any nefarious gang or cult would want to, yes, minimize activities for a period.
This may come across as quite a random question, Mrs. Adams. But did your husband ever speak about either of the Carlyles?
Oh. The fancy ones?
That's the ones.
No.
Do you know much about them yourself?
What we see in the papers. That's all.
This might be entirely unnecessary, but she definitely seems like she'd tell the truth on that, right? That she doesn't remember.
You can make a psychology roll if you'd like.
I'm not just making a roll for the sake of it, I probably already got a taste anyway. That's a hard success.
Yeah, he's never mentioned them.
Cool. I'm happy with that.
Like the only thing is, like maybe he may have, like they might make slightly disparaging comments about them when, like, there's something about the way, the way that she said it. But yeah.
They may have made disparaging comments about those annoying rich people who keep turning up in the newspapers doing extravagant things. Yeah.
Yep.
This Juju house you mentioned, have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, it's like an art emporium, like an African art emporium. It's in Ransom Court. So I'll be honest, I have scoped the place out a little after Hilton was arrested and I'd heard him mention it. There's about once a month, in the early hours, a number of people go into the store. And yeah, the timings are kind of similar to when Hilton and the guys would go out on patrol. And it's not all one type of person. There are people who, to me, look like they may not have a home. There there are others who look like the kind of people Hilton would work with, blue collar. I didn't recognize any of the people that I've seen going in. I've seen a few crates go in there once, a little while before people arrived. I kind of thought maybe it was a speakeasy. But kind of had a strange feeling about it.
You said this was happening at the same time as the patrols, as in your husband went out when some sort of attack was expected or something?
That doesn't help my strange feeling.
Yeah.
They were going out then because that's when people seem to be disappearing. And that's also when this meeting is happening.
Do you know... I'll probably look around almost, making sure no one's paying attention to us. Were you, by any chance, there the night of Mr. Elias's death? Or around that time? It was 2 nights ago, wasn't it?
I don't go out every night, Mrs. Farwell. I don't think so. No.
That's okay. Just in case.
Is it the same sort of time every month? Is it?
It's always in the early hours, yes.
Oh no, I mean the date of the month. Sorry.
No, I don't think it is. I've also seen police go in there during the day. Now, police go into stores and check on people, but again, I have a strange feeling. If the precinct is as dirty as my husband thought, then perhaps they're going in to pick up money. The proprietor's name is Silas, I believe. Would anybody like to make a psychology roll?
Sure.
Well, that's done.
Dice are
I'm
not
looking
behaving.
for a
Oh.
hard success.
Hard success.
I fail
Oh.
completely.
I got to 96, so that ain't going to cut it.
Perhaps due to Merit's proximity, you think there's something that she isn't saying. If you would like to try and get some information out of her, I'm going to ask for a charm or persuade roll. And some roleplay, obviously, but... and this is also hard, John.
I will go for a persuade. I'll roll and then I'll decide what I say.
Okay.
27, which is under half of 55. So that is a success.
Nice rolls.
Nice. Don't forget to tick both of those if you...
Yeah. I will say... Is there anything of interest about this Silas? If you know his name, I assume you've asked around.
I don't know, but as you have alluded to there, I'm a little, well, more than a little concerned that I have stuck my head a little far above the parapet. And if things aren't resolved soon, then not only will Hilton end up dead, I may end up some kind of victim, either standing over a body in an alleyway, or I may be a body in an alleyway. But until Hilton is sitting in that electric chair, I have to keep trying.
Is there anything else you think it would be useful for us to know, Mrs. Adams?
Not that I can think of, but I will wire ahead to the prison and tell Hilton to make the most of his time with you this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
I will stand up and clasp her hands one more time. And then I suppose I'll lean down and just kind of whisper almost to her. Beware any particularly groups in the night wearing bright red scarves. I think that's how these frightening individuals may appear.
Noted. Thank you.
If we would like to leave you a message, should we contact you through Ms. Schosenberg, or is there another way you would prefer to be contacted? I'm not asking for an address or a phone number or anything you're not comfortable with, Mrs. Adams.
She reaches into her handbag and passes you a card.
And
Thank you
we are
all
staying
again.
And we are staying at our hotel, which I can't remember the
Yeah.
name of, if you want to contact us.
It's been
Yep.
a pleasure, genuinely.
I just hope we can help.
As do I.
Yeah, get up to leave. Out of curiosity, does Miss Schosenberg follow us, or is she staying here?
Well, she stands and kind of walks to the end of the row with you, and then says, "Well, I think that went well. Do you think you can find your way back out? Do you need anything else from me? I'll make sure the telegram gets to Hilton."
Thank you.
I think the most pressing concern we will have is how to determine who to trust within the police. And, well, not being locals, we would have no idea without assistance. With your contacts, it would be incredibly useful if we could, if anyone is to overturn corruption within the force, they would need sufficient leverage and a point of contact. If there is anybody that matches that sort of description, we're going to need to find them, and quickly, I would imagine. Now, I know we spoke to names, God.
Something
who might not be
Paul.
corrupt.
I didn't get his rank, but the officer we talked to was Paul.
Lieutenant.
Yes.
Or lieutenant, as they would say. Yeah, do you mention him by name?
Yes. My character would. I would have done if I'd remembered the name.
Yeah, Rebecca says, he's likely your best bet. There is no love lost between him and Robson.
Well, that is encouraging to hear. Obviously, as soon as we tell somebody within the force, it is quite a high risk move.
Exactly. So we need to have evidence before we can approach anyone, I would say, unfortunately.
From my understanding, Paul had a lot of this taken off him, and perhaps that's because he was getting somewhere with it. So I'm sure if he has irrefutable evidence that not only was Captain Robson wrong, but that he was wrong on purpose, then he would gladly follow up.
Seems like this Juju house, I think it was called, maybe the best place for that evidence to be found. But first, I suppose we should have a chat with Mr. Adams.
Yes. And I doubt very much whether any evidence will be lying around in the open.
Indeed.
Still.
We go
Yes,
get some brunch.
Looks at watch.
I'm assuming it's about brunch time.
Absolutely,
Feels like
yes.
it's not lunchtime yet. Feels like we've had about a morning, but not a full.
10:45. 10:45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
11s.
Definitely time for a snack, yeah.
Mhm.
You've got
I think
a
at
little
this
bit
point
of
in time,
a-
we'd still call it 11s.
Yeah.
Brunch is very American.
Sorry, I mean, maybe I'm taking on the local lingo.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a train travel to Sing Sing, the prison. But yeah, you've definitely got time for some food before your 3 p.m. Do you want to have any discussions there?
Yeah, there's one thing I wanted to kind of discuss / think about. So yeah, I assume we settle somewhere nice, and then probably because I think Winifred might not have this in her own head, she might ask the group again, making sure that we found a quiet spot. No one's obviously listening to us. Something occurred to me while I was talking to that poor lady. Have we actually noted the relation between the end of the Carlisle expedition and other goings on of that expedition, or when it started, and the beginning of the murders here in New York? I think Mrs. Fowler probably doesn't have the notes on her, but I'm assuming someone in the group probably does have notes of all these things on them. So I'm basically curious if there's any relationship between any.
Well, we know the murders in Harlem took place in 1924, and there were 8 of them. The disappearance of the Carlisle expedition,
1919.
Oh, so it was a big gap.
Which is
And
a heck of a
yes,
point
they
in
kind of-
time to be traveling, I think.
So it's not like we could say it's about the amount of time someone would sail back from disappearing to here.
It was 4 years. It was the
Yeah.
murderers were hanged June 1920.
Yeah, and
allegedly.
it didn't correlate with when Carlisle's sister went over or anything like that either, did it?
No, Carlisle's
still
sister
before that
was Carlisle's sister was in Nairobi, June 1920. No, she came back earlier. She left several weeks before before June 1920.
So nothing anywhere close to 1924, basically.
No.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, I will say, oh well, it's just a hunch. It's quite a big gap in time. It doesn't preclude the fact that they might be related, I suppose, but there's clearly something else going on here as well.
Well, my immediate concern is, why on earth is there a death cult in New York?
Well, there's everything in New
Yes.
York.
It's a strange place to have come, given it definitely seems to connect with whatever was going on in East Africa. But to have come all the way back here, if they did come back here, or if someone else came, it is odd.
Jonny, have you provided us with like the communication that Jackson Elias sent us to invite us here? Like, does he? I'm just wondering whether there's something in that says some piece of stuff.
Let me just.
I don't know if I see it in our evidence.
There's definitely a telegram.
Yeah,
that we
I remember
sent.
seeing one, but I don't remember.
Sorry to distract.
No, it's not.
Oh no, I've got it here actually. Yeah, it's pretty brief. That's fine. Just trying to think about when, like, timings. When timings, indeed.
There's
Yes, 4 lines as original telegram to you, wasn't it?
I'm just thinking in terms of timeline. There's a set of Elias's notes where he talks to a former mercenary who says that he saw a member of the expedition alive in Hong Kong 2 years after he was declared dead.
So it sounds like they might have been traveling around. Oh, it's a shame we can't find out what was going on in Hong Kong 2 years ago, or 3 years ago.
We could look at papers.
Think we'll be able to find old papers from that region here?
I mean, the public library will probably have some, possibly some foreign papers.
Running under the wild hypothesis that perhaps murders similar to what we saw here from 1924 until the present day may have occurred in Hong Kong before that point.
Hong Kong
with us, and then in East Africa before that point.
I
There
need to
is a
quickly check something.
group of people that have travelled around doing dastardly deeds. Why they've come here, though, I don't know.
Did the does the red ribbon that Hilton was using as a bookmark seem like similar to the red
I haven't seen it.
apparel I know, but like, would you describe the red scarves as ribbons, or were they not ribbon like?
I think she said a piece of red cloth.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which
using it
is-
as a-
Which is what you, yeah.
I mean,
It evoked that in your mind as soon
Yeah,
as
I
she
mean,
said
like,
it. Yeah.
I'm like, that's not a great sign.
Yeah, it's not
We all know
great.
what we were thinking.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean,
it could
I'm
be
just-
that, or it could be a piece of evidence that he wanted to keep track of.
It could be.
I mean, if he's
Okay.
been somewhere and found a bit of it, if Hilton knew that, yes, that this cult used red cloth as some sort of decoration or clothing, then yes, if he's managed to snag a piece of it somehow, using it as a bookmark is a bit of an unusual.
It is a bit, I agree. And
Yeah.
but honestly, Wilfred, we're certain, no matter what comes of this, even if Mr. Adams is guilty, that there's many other people involved.
Oh, yes.
It's just one small part of this. So regardless, the truth must come out, and those who are really responsible have not been caught. And perhaps Mr. Adams, as I think, was not involved. Perhaps he
Well,
was.
not in this,
Either way.
not in the most recent murder. He's in prison, but well,
The very fact that he was investigating these things and part of a patrol and such lends. If he was part of the cult, he would be trying to avoid all those things to me, rather than
maybe,
talking to them. I don't know. It seems unlikely.
maybe. I suppose we could always broach the topic with him of sometimes you just feel strangely compelled to do things. And
Under a pyramid.
Edwin looks
maybe
shifty.
that's maybe that's an understandable emotion.
I think someone else should perhaps do the talking, husband.
Sure. Anyway, that's my view. I think this is regrettable.
If we did, I'm not entirely, I can't exactly remember the chain of logic that we followed, but if we wanted to see whether there was anything specific happening in Hong Kong 2 years ago that Jack Brady may have been present for, such as, for example, a series of murders, New York Library might not have anything, but Hong Kong is a colony. So the British Library might have something
In London.
in London.
Well, there's still a bit of a barrier of access there, then.
I could send my student to have a look.
Oh. I suppose there's no harm if they have the time.
It'd be a good outing for him. It's probably a fair few
Find
things
out
we
about
need to-
murders in Hong Kong.
Well, yes. I think he's old enough to learn about the grim realities of the world.
I have an image of this student being like 11.
Just tell him to
When
keep an
you're
eye
too
out
young
for-
to learn about death
Red
cults
cloth.
is the main question. Yeah.
Just time to keep an eye out for red cloth.
Street
Stay
urchin that
away
Merritt
from it.
Barton took in to help to care for the office, and now like, go and look at some murders.
Go and look at some murders, and if you see anyone wearing red, flag them down and ask them some very specific questions.
Oh my goodness me.
No, do not do that.
How many of these assistants do you have?
Just the one.
Just the one, right?
One less now.
One at a time. The rule of one. There's the rule of two. There can only be one apprentice at a time.
I did also wonder about, as I'm sending him to London anyway, apparently, I could ask him to stop by the Penhew Foundation offices. But I'm not entirely sure what that would achieve,
Might
other
be
than
more
finding out if
tricky,
Dr. Penhew was there.
given we have no context for them arriving just yet.
Yes.
Maybe just stick with the library for now.
Right. In that case, at some point after dinner, I will go send a telegram back to Dominic with fairly, admittedly vague instructions. Go and see if there was anything significant happening in 1922 Hong Kong, e.g., murders.
With red sashes.
I think that might be a bit too specific to send by telegram.
Were there
I don't
any
want to
murders in
alert this cult
Hong Kong
guy.
in 1922? Might be a little not specific enough. I'll put that one to you.
Oh, wow.
Never mind. This has been a delightful meal. I say standing up. Sorry, you were going to go, Steve.
I was just going to make the comment that I presume, I don't know whether Call of Cthulhu has mechanisms for this, but I presume if anything were to happen to Dominic, did you say?
He is my significant person, so maybe
Right.
sending him to investigate isn't the best idea.
It's probably fine. It's
probably fine.
There probably aren't massive consequences if anything does happen to them.
Tragedy is just an opportunity for character growth.
Yeah.
Why have we got a husband and wife pair?
I want to see my significant person dead. So
Wow.
like
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I don't think it's a problem if they die.
Your granddad revenge plot. Oh, so funny.
And I will have my revenge.
Oh.
Cool. Yeah. What's next?
Are you going to the prison? Is there anything you want to do before you go to the prison for your meeting?
I mean, do we have time to swing by the library to see if he's got his library? Do we see if we can find his reading list?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Let's do that then.
Do that.
What do we want on the way over? What do we want to be our reason for inquiring about this person's reading list?
Yeah, particularly since they might well know that he's been arrested.
Yes.
Oh, you could swing a research angle from Jackson and Elias's point of view, wanting to know the sort of research that this person was doing. Because if they are involved in a cult, then
Yeah, we should get
That's a
Jack's
good
character
one.
to do it. Pretend he's like doing a report on this maniac murderer sort of thing.
and Jack's not here, so it doesn't matter.
Jack's not here, so none of us have to do it.
I could give it a go.
And if it goes wrong, Jack's character has proven that he's very good at complaining to managers. So
Yeah.
The manager of the library. Flip off.
Justin, do you want Mr. Farwell to do it, or do you want me to roll for Jack?
Well, I can support Jack if needs be. Jack and I are a great double team, I've always said.
I just thought it made thematic sense for Jack's character to do it.
Yeah.
No,
You've never
very
had friends
cheap.
with me.
Yeah. Why is this persuade so bad?
Yeah, my persuade isn't terrible. Oh, maybe it is. I don't know.
Persuade's-
We'll see.
my
My
persuade
persuade is
is
terrible.
okay,
Sorry,
okay.
that was the mistake I made. God,
I could have a crack at a persuade if no one else has any.
I've got charm, and I've got intimidate,
My colleague here is investigating the minds of criminals, etc.
and I've got credit writing.
Yeah, I'm happy for anybody to have a go with any of those things.
Then I am going to try to head in and take. Well, yeah, we'll take this angle of that we are. We were colleagues of Dr. Jackson Elias, who's just passed away, who was doing some research on a number of esoteric topics. And we have reason to believe that a previous user of the library who has been arrested in relation to the spate of disappearances and like that has been going on in the city was also researching these kinds of topics, and it would be really nice, that's what we're looking into. We're wondering if we could. I still sound like a persuade now I'm saying it, but we would like to know the list. That's what I'm saying.
I can back you up with credit rating if you like.
Yeah, I mean,
me a
I
roll.
can back it up with a credit rating.
I will say make a roll, but you can have. I don't think it's called advantage in this. I think it's a bonus dice. So you can roll your tens dice twice and take the better option.
Okay, I'll pick up
Because
two
you are being
tens
helped
dice.
out, and it's a good argument.
That's another tens dice. No, it isn't. Right, there's a white one's another tens dice. Well, that's good because that makes it 13 rather than. Well, I still fail.
Expensive luck though.
With a 13.
With a 13, because I have 10% in persuade. So
Really.
Oh, that's worth 3
how
points
many?
of luck, sure.
I spend 3 points of luck and I can do it. Do I get to tick the box if that happens?
Yes.
Then don't do that. That's great. Yeah, I spend 10% of my luck points. 10%.
It's only 10%.
To
Fine.
succeed this check and get a tick. That's
You'll get
100%.
an amount of those back at some point.
And I know that Johnny's going to honour this rule of us recovering like every single
I
session.
am.
Not every session. Every
Not every session.
Not every session.
Maybe eventually.
So yeah, you basically get handed the kind of almost like a carbon copy of a library card.
Yeah. Is the latest book that he checked out in the library for me to check out?
Are you asking the lady at the desk that, or are you going to go look yourself through the
I'll
Dewey
ask her.
Decimal System?
Okay. I've already got my check for library use.
Yeah, she makes quick work of the rifling through the cards.
Yeah, it is literally her job.
This is exactly what Mr. Farwell is saying while he just turns around and goes, "It is her job."
I'd be taking work out of her. I'd be taking food out of her mouth if I did that for her.
She goes to hand you like the card for the book.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to take it, or are you going to continue this and kind of look expectantly at her?
No, I can go and collect the book myself. That's fine.
Okay. I don't have a name for the book, but you can go and get this book and spend some time looking at it later.
Yeah.
If you sign up to the library.
Yeah, fine. What was the name I gave last time? The fake name.
I think it was something Adams, wasn't it? You were pretending to be.
I'll sign up for the book that definitely didn't drive this man mad to murder people. And I'll put that in my bag. And
is it definitely like what we would expect, like a kind of to do with strange occulty things, or is it totally nothing to do with?
Yeah, you reckon that this may have been
that's good enough.
Like a competitor of Jackson Elias, or a precursor, or some.
Oh, that's a whole rich seam of NPCs we could.
Elias.
I was really murdered.
Cool, good. We'll bag that and be on our way.
Really have to make sure we remember to return it before we leave New York, because otherwise
your credit rating is just going to drop and drop.
Farwell famously known for acquiring relics and walking off with them. So
they charge compound fees at this library, so it's going to get.
I never planned to return to America anyway.
At the end of the campaign, we're going to have all sorts of wonderful eldritch tomes of evil, and in every one of them, it's going to have like a little stamp in the front for the library we never return it to. Like tomes bound in flesh. Oh yes, this is from Oxford Library.
They do actually have books bound in human flesh at Oxford Library. Just so you know,
that's actually true.
Was that is that a personal interest of yours, John? So let's get going to this prison.
Okay. You have a reasonably pleasant train journey through the little bits of almost countryside that you happen to peek out the windows. Snow kind of flurrying outside. And you arrive.
I've been this way before as well, haven't I? So
yes.
on the way, I'll be saying that bit's quite nice. We're coming up to a nice bit here.
I think it was you and Mrs. Farwell both went on the train last time.
I'll still be telling Mrs. Farwell as if she wasn't on the original trip.
You arrive and it's the same guard.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I've got an appointment.
Can you make everybody make a listen roll?
Oh gosh. I'm not sure I wanted to, but I passed.
Failure.
Anyone who passes just hear, like, everybody kind of hears the sigh, but then those who passed hear, "You again." He goes, "Name."
Did we provide? What was the name? Do we have an invitation name on the invitation? Whose name was put down?
Well, this time you've got an organised visit.
Yeah, it's
but
an
last
organised
time
visit.
you gave a fake name.
Yeah, it's an organised visit. That's
Name?
in the book.
Was it for our group, the organization?
What would the name have been
Some
given?
details from Schosenberg before we.
I don't know if you if you checked with her, then fine. But equally, you imagine that because it's a prison, each of you would be named.
Yeah, in that case, I think seeing Wilfred's son stumble, I'll step forward and go, Mrs. Farwell and my compatriots.
My lying husband.
Mrs. Farwell, I'm going to need each of your names.
I'll glance back at Wilfred.
Edwin Price.
Farwell.
I'll sign it.
The other two give their names.
Yeah.
You don't. He probably hasn't remembered the name that you gave.
That's fine. I'll give my name. I mean, like, if he's insistent, then I'll give my name. That's fine.
Okay.
I have an appointment.
I can see that now that you have provided your name. And he kind of looks outside the gate and then undoes the lock and pulls the gate over and kind of gestures you all inside. Just wait there, please.
Do we have to check our bags or anything?
Closes the gate. And he says, I'll be searching you in a moment. Locks the gate. And says, gets out a big tub thing and says, any weapons or anything that could be considered a weapon, please place in here.
Now I know. Mr. Price.
Check the character sheet.
Mr. Price. What is this? I had this, I think, called a Fifth Amendment. I heard so much about.
You can't use it to
I don't consent to any unlawful searches, and I don't consent to my bags being searched. I'll leave my bags here, but I don't consent to any law enforcement personnel going through my bags.
Sir, if you place your bag in here, I will not be searching the contents of the bag.
That's fine. I'll do that.
I will do that as well, and also
I'll take the book out,
which might be the most weapon-like thing I have.
I do want to grab the book. How big is this book? Is it like a book, or is it like a book?
Like between a book and a tome.
Right,
so it's
cool.
not like enormous, but it's also not like a little paperback.
I'm going to grab it and I'm going to slide it in between the pages of today's newspaper.
Okay.
Can I have grabbed a cupcake from the Base Forgot brunch and have that with me? And
We can go get one on the truck. We got one on the train, couldn't we?
I'm going to take it in with to Mr. Adams unless they stop me.
There's no keys in it.
I was about to say, have you hidden a book in it or something?
I'm carrying it openly. They can see it. I'm assuming no one's going to stop me with that. But
do you say there's no keys in it, Justin?
Yes.
He says, hair clips, and then turns around and carries on with what he's doing. It may have been a joke. You're not sure.
Not sure.
And then he basically gives a pat down on everyone and follow me, please. You kind of at the top of the hill here, so he escorts you downhill, and takes you to the death house, it's a 2-story building, brick entrance in which stands a man wearing a 3-piece suit, who opens the door as you approach and smiles, and says, "Good afternoon. I'm George Brunton, the sub-warden here." Shakes everybody's hand. I'm assuming you all give names. And he says, very nice to meet you all. I understand that you're here to see Mr. Adams. In fact, we received a telegram from Mr. Adams from his wife not long ago, suggesting that he be as open with you as possible.
That's nice.
So I hope that you and he get everything that you can from this visit. Anybody can make a psychology roll.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to do that. Which I rolled 91. I wanted to ask Mr. Bratton what his view on the, he must have been working now for some time with the prisoner. What's his view on his disposition, his mental state?
Okay, those who succeeded on the psychology roll,
Hard success.
you get the feeling that Mr. Brunton here does not necessarily think that Mr. Adams is guilty.
Cool.
And he says, well, Mr. Farwell, anybody in Mr. Adams's position and with his imminent fate, people tend to go one of two ways. Either what I would describe as insane denial, or a kind of peace. And I would describe Mr. Adams as having the latter. I'm sure he's not happy about what is happening, but he has come to terms with it as much as he can, I think.
How does he spend his time?
The same as any prisoner on death row, I suppose. We try to provide what entertainment we can. There's a small amount of exercise per day.
We understand that from his wife that he was an avid reader. Has he been reading a lot?
I don't think Mr. Adams has described himself as an avid reader while here, but he's, had a couple of small paperback novels he's made his way through.
Well, I'm glad to say that he's having some entertainment.
I'm glad he's being cared for by someone as responsible as yourself.
There have been some changes in the prison in the last few years under the new warden. Things are much more pleasant for everybody, I think, than they once were here. Everybody at least deserves basic respect, we think.
Admirable statement.
Okay. Would you like to come down this way, please? We'll head to his cell block.
Sure.
Now, I am very rules-oriented, you must understand, in my role. And as such, you will have 30 minutes to speak to Mr. Adams. You may not exchange any items with the prisoner. I'm sorry, Mrs. Farwell, if you have brought that for him. I cannot allow that. Perhaps it might be kinder to leave outside until you are done, when you can obviously take that away with you
I suppose. Would you like it? Since I can't take it in.
That's very kind, but I would not feel good when it is meant for Mr. Adams if I were to eat that.
I think I'll just stare awkwardly at it for a moment and then just eat it slightly sadly.
Yeah, I'll tell him that I've brought a book that he had been reading before he entered prison. I wasn't planning on giving it to him, but I was planning on asking him some questions about it.
That is fine. Any attempt to pass anything either way through the cell bars will result in termination of the interview, I'm afraid.
Understood.
I'm sorry to be so strict, but they're necessary rules.
Rules are rules. I've always said rules are rules.
Are you happy for our interview to be recorded? I'm afraid I left my fountain pen at the front desk, so I don't really have an alternative.
He pulls a pencil.
Oh, thank you.
Again, things will be observed, so I genuinely do not think there is any danger to anybody in this situation, but please make sure to keep that away from the bars, Mr. Barton.
Will you be minus my one of our colleagues here, Mr. Price, is a lawyer. My understanding is that will you be listening in on these conversations, or is the content of the conversation allowed to be private?
We have to observe.
Mm-hmm.
I will take a few steps back to allow you some privacy.
Thank you.
If things are discussed in hushed tones that I cannot hear, that is not a problem. But I have to be able to see.
Rules are rules. Rules are rules.
We cannot risk a prisoner having something that we are not aware of. I'm sorry. We simply cannot. But I will give you space.
Understood. I wink at Price. Just like they can let me use you like that, Price. Like
and as you are standing outside the door to the cell block, I think we'll call it an evening.
Sounds good.
Well, I thought that conversation was going to be 5 minutes, Johnny. Why can't we? Not the crux of the stories of that.
Fun to be playing again. Thanks, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Links to everything below the stream: YouTube, Twitch, social media, Discord, Patreon. We will be back next Monday, or else. Simbaroom is on Wednesday. The next Yellow King is on the 1st of May. That was as much an or else at me, because I'm the reason some of them haven't been on. 1st of May, Yellow King, Simbaroom Wednesday. We'll definitely be back next week. Any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. I've had fun. I hope everybody else has had fun. Yes. Tumbling along now.
Nice to get back into it.
Yeah. Anything good in the chat, John, or anything any of the players want to say about anything?
There was a lot of leads this time, wasn't there? Like more places to go.
Places and people, and I am deeply worried that we will get all of this evidence together somehow to reveal that Hilton was framed and then present it to the wrong police officer.
Yeah.
And then immediately paint a massive target on our backs. And yeah.
And it was you that did it. Oh, crap.
How else could you have compiled all of this evidence? We have... I like this from Steve. That didn't come to fruition, thankfully, but...
I always get slightly nervous when a meeting happens somewhere that could be the background to an action set piece. At the theatre, I assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's
It made so
entirely
much sense.
reasonable.
Yeah, it made so much sense after explanation, but before that, we were all like,
It's like going to meet someone for a private chat at an old sawmill or an abandoned steelworks. Or something.
exactly. Or a Simbaru reference, meeting a new NPC who really wants to meet you in a tavern in a new town.
Yeah,
Watch out
right
for-
next
yes.
to some sort of like large, significant geographic feature of the city that
Mhm.
you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Also, there's too many comments to really put it up, but there was a weird sort of Mandela effect going on with the front, the starting
intro
video.
sequence.
I guess because we just hadn't seen it in so long, but both me and 42 thought that it had changed from last time we saw it.
I'm intrigued because it really shouldn't have done.
If you watch back and it has, maybe it'd be creepy if it hasn't. I don't know. The fact that the two of you thought it.
Yeah.
I mean, was anyone else really paying attention to the intro? Because I didn't. I was kind of zoned out.
Just people
Not to
messing
this
with us.
particular one. I was sort of trying to find dice and things, but
I was
Anyone else?
rapidly note writing, so
Yeah. Unsettling.
Yeah.
it's
That's
given me
it.
it's given me ideas for future. I can.
Subtly
just do the
changing.
old like one frame of Azathoth waking or something,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
Exactly.
Speaking of, I actually played 3rd edition Arkham Horror yesterday and prevented Azathoth from waking, so that was good.
Oh, well done.
Congrats.
Glad
Yeah,
someone's
thank you.
doing it.
You're all welcome.
Yeah.
The
Every
two
time
things
someone
are
plays that
unrelated.
game, it is in reality. You have to
Yeah.
win, or reality will disappear.
Cool. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Thank you, everybody. There's nothing else from me. So yeah, if there's nothing else in the comments, then we can probably run away. And we will catch you next week. So Simbarim on Wednesday, Yellow King 1st of May. We'll be back on the 14th, which is a week today. Cheers everybody for watching, and yeah, catch you next time. Bye-bye.